Well, hello there, everybody, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Tomb Raider 4, The Last Revelation, for PS1, or PSX as I like to refer to it. It's Jamie Clough Gaming here, for YouTube, and now we are on part 27, which is City of the Dead. City of the Dead is the first level of the penultimate area, which is CAIRO. Like Alexandria, all of these levels interlink with each other, and you have to explore each of these levels at least 2 times, except for the City of the Dead, which only requires 1 explore. However, if you want all the secrets, you have to come back here when you've got a modification for your bike in order to reach the secret area and get the secret. That's entirely optional though. It's up to you if you want to collect all the secrets. If not, you never have to come to this level again. But there's an extra enemy to kill, so if you want all kills, it's also essential. And the cool thing now is I've unlocked what I'd say to be probably the best weapon in this game, apart from the explosive crossbow, the revolver, which you can also combine with a laser sight, and you'll need to do so, frankly. You'll need to do so, in CAIRO especially. So I guess that'd be why you get this gun in CAIRO. It's needed here, probably more than it's needed in every other area. And yeah, this recording I'm doing now will probably be the last of the day because it's getting on a bit, you know. I'm not allowed to make big noise after 11 and stuff. I think it would still be okay for me to talk after 11 o'clock at night. Sometimes I do rant a bit inappropriate times, and I got to try and knock that ball a bit. It's very hard, you know, because I do get frustrated with things, and you've got someone you've got to moderate that. Now this gun here is harmless to you, but having played this game before, I know you can destroy all of them, and even the ones that don't harm you, I managed to destroy. So my ambition, and that might look like a machine gun, but that's a man firing at you. And the dodgy thing about this is, in the PS1 version, the grenades do damage at the firing, but in the PC version, grenades don't damage Lara. So they're firing grenades at you that cannot harm you in that version. But obviously their machine gun can't harm you in both versions, but the grenade gun in the PlayStation version can harm and kill Lara, and even her own grenades can kill her. I've demonstrated that before, I think. So right, the City of the Dead. I never used to be a big fan of this level, to be honest. I was never a fan of CAIRO in general because it's very dark compared to Alexandria anyway. But in actuality, some areas are quite brightly lit, and brighter than I remember, so it's not that bad. You can still navigate it, even in the darker PS1 version. Obviously the version now is PC version, I've said several million times, and I'll continue to say it because I'm retarded. Oh, yeah, I just said that to make myself laugh. There is some aspects of Tomb which are a little bit stupid, but it's the same with the majority of people. No one is perfect. Do I aspire to be like Jesus Christ himself, you know? I'm not anything like Jesus, by the way. I'm making like the stupidest commentary ever here. Never mind, I always am. Anyway, it's quite hard to navigate this level because there's some tricky chunks to the bike. If you don't have the modifications, what I would have preferred from this level is you can go back and get the modifications, then complete the mission as well, because then that jump would be easy as fuck, because the modifications make the bike much quicker. Without the modifications, the bike is quite hard to jump off ramps and stuff. Those guns are their machine guns, like the one we destroyed. They're firing at Lara. The end of killing her, so... You see, I lost a lot of medipacks in the Lost Library, and I don't think I've been really compensated. So, though I said once that there was plenty for my presence, there isn't a way. But if you're careless, as the game gets harder, there are less supplies, I believe. So it gets harder for supplies. So it fools you into thinking you're getting more supplies than usual, but I don't actually think you are. In Tomb Raider 1, for instance, you get thousands of supplies for the Uzis. They're a very powerful weapon in that game. They're not quite as effective by this point, and you don't get anywhere near as many Uzi rounds, but like I said, if you can't win playing fairly on the ammunition side, you can press G and get unlimited ammunition for every gun. The pistols are unlimited to start with, by the way, but you'll never run out of pistol ammo. And what's funny about that gun is it's still smoking. I've already destroyed it. It shouldn't be there. I've completely destroyed it and it's still smoking, as if it were there. And I've just picked him off the revolver. The revolver is a delightfully good weapon, just like the Desert Eagle in Tomb Raider 3. It's the same weapon, essentially, and it's just as effective in Tomb Raider 4 as in Tomb Raider 3. It returns in Tomb Raider Chronicles. You've already seen me Let's Play Tomb Raider 3 and Tomb Raider Chronicles. Tomb Raider Chronicles was the first LP I did of classic Tomb Raider, controversially, because it's the last PS1 game, so to speak. But you've seen a revolver in that, but it's nowhere near as powerful in Chronicles as in 4. It's still a good weapon in Chronicles, and you still need it for laser sight, but especially as you don't actually get the crossbow in Chronicles. You get the revolver in laser sight, but you don't actually get the crossbow, or the grenade gun, for that matter. So you get the Uzis, the shotgun, and the revolver and the pistols, and that's it. And you get the Desert Eagle, which acts as the revolver in the Russian segment. So I wonder whether the Desert Eagle was an earlier version of the revolver, because the Russian segment was set in 1989, I believe. Lara would have only been about 20 when she did that mission. Despite the fact the character model looks the same as she does when she's 32. In Tomb Raider 4, the character model to Chronicles is exactly the same as Tomb Raider 4. Even in the flashback levels. And it kind of makes sense when she's 16 because of the Cambodia character being the same. I accept that, but when it's several years before Tomb Raider 4, she looks like the same character model. They could have used, I reckon, the older character model from Tomb Raider 1 and some of those. That would have been a nice throwback, and it would have made more sense in all actuality. But despite this, it's only a cosmetic feature. It doesn't affect the gameplay, which it looks like. It's just that I would have preferred a bit more thought put into that. But as I've already said with Chronicles, there wasn't much thought to put into it because they were told at the last minute they had to make it. They didn't think they'd have to make it. They thought they could just focus on Angel of Darkness, but they couldn't. They had to make another game that tied the final PS1 adventure. And that was what Chronicles was in 2000. So it lacked a lot of the length of the previous 4 games. But actually, it's nearly as long as the first game. It's got 13 levels. And the first game only had 15 levels. But in general, the levels in the first game are huge, and the levels in Chronicles are not. So, except for the final 3, which are very, very lengthy and very hard, just like Tomb Raider 3, actually. But in fact, I'd argue the final level of Tomb Raider Chronicles could be the hardest Tomb Raider level of all time, even harder than Tomb Raider 3, because of the way that it is and the challenge of those lasers, and especially if you go for the secret, which is nearly impossible to get, because you have to be really, really quick, and it took me 3.5 hours to do it, for God's sake. Most of which I had to edit out, obviously, because I didn't want... That would not have been good viewing for you guys, obviously, and that's the priority with making these, is to make them watchable despite however long it took to do a level. If I took too long, I'd just split it off, obviously. So, into videos which are no more than 50 minutes long. That's kind of the cut-off point these days. There was a time on YouTube where I think you couldn't make videos that are longer than 10 minutes long. And that's why earlier, that's what you see, 10 minutes per video. They couldn't be in. Then they've they've took the limits off. You can have videos of any length you want. I've got videos that are 3 hours long on my channel from a few years back now. But I prefer not to have that, to be honest, because it takes about 3 years to upload, so you just don't have that. It takes a long... The problem is with the new setup now, the new version of Movie Maker I'm using, it takes a lot longer to process the videos. It takes about 10 times as long. So... And that reason is probably because they've already been converted. They just need commentary added. So, yeah, there's not much I'll be able to do about that. But I'm delighted that there's a way to put commentary on, because I was worried that when I initially tried to unload commentary, it wouldn't recognise the files. And I was like, well, it doesn't recognise its own files. What a kind of a stupid laptop is this, you know? But it's just that I was doing it wrong, and then there's another way to do it. And thank fuck for that, frankly. Because narration is an important part of Let's Plays, you know. If it's a gameplay video without commentary, that's not Let's Play, that's a walkthrough. The exception to this for his badass games, his are walkthroughs, because he knows what he's doing fully, rather than Let's Plays. But they have commentary on, so they're kind of a hybrid between a walkthrough and a Let's Play. So they're like a walkthrough with commentary, which is a particularly unique feature of his. I suppose some would argue that's still a Let's Play, but he does the levels very quickly, and even the ones that I take ages to do, he can get them done in 25 minutes, you know what I mean? So, and yeah, he has got an audience that justifies the effort, but I'll never have that unless I buy it, and that's honesty right there. And I can't necessarily afford it at the moment. I could probably afford to buy 500 subscribers. It really is possible. And Yahtzee Crusher said years and years ago it was possible to buy followers and things, but of course Yahtzee Crusher never needed to do that. He was popular in the first place. So, but if you do buy all this, it probably can be a foundation for further success. So I'd actually recommend buying followers and so on if you can afford it. If you've got a small channel, because that would boost your channel up to fuck, in my view, and it would really propel it into the mainstream. And yeah, if I could afford it, I'd be doing it, but I can't, so I'm not. And some people complain at this mission because you can't necessarily put it there, but I think it was Alonso Ryan's playing Let's Plays actually, who said it was terrible that she just couldn't, she was too short to climb in naturally, so you had to go around background. But I don't agree. I think it's a challenge to do this, and I think the challenge is necessary. And he had already completed Tomb Raider 3, and he found Tomb Raider 4 too easy in comparison. I can understand that. Tomb Raider 3 is very, very convoluted most of the time. There's often about 3 or 4 different paths to do the same level, and you can only pick one. And with Tomb Raider 4, it's not that convoluted. It's more like Tomb Raider 2 that way, but it's still, I'd maintain, more complex than Tomb Raider 2 overall. You know, there was only really a few levels in Tomb Raider 2 that I struggled with, and those, one of them was Temple of Zion, which was, I appreciate what they were trying to do with the Temple of Zion. It's very diverse. At the time it would have looked amazing, but the Temple of Zion is just a pain in the arse. It's my least favourite level in Tomb Raider 2. Probably one of my least favourite classic levels. That said, the variety in that level is truly astonishing, really. Truly astonishing. But it's just a shame that to play it's a pain in the fucking backside. It's really, 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 really hard, you know. Which is a good thing, you know. They don't make levels as hard as that anymore, so they definitely do not. And if they do, and if it ends up being hard, it's because of some stupid bug or something, you know. It's not because it was genuinely meant to be that way. Like that level in Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, where She was in a monster pit and there's loads of monsters coming at her, and I just could not get that done for ages and ages. And it's because Lara wasn't a very good FPS, and she fired really slowly, and they're coming at you at about 1,000,000 miles an hour. It's not hard, it's not necessarily challenging, it's just completely stupid, really. If you're not that good at the combat, you really struggle at that for ages and ages, and it shouldn't be that hard to do. And actually, when you do it, it's like, how did I struggle so much? Because all I need to do is that, and that. But then when I watched the walkthrough, he did it in 2 seconds flat, of course. But the Rad Brad in this case, who is a professional, who can just fly through games like it's nothing, you know. But yeah, he does current games. He's one of the biggest YouTubers as a result of that, and it takes more than to just do them on games. You have to actually have an audience. He would probably actually make quite a bit of money from doing that. It's probably a full-time job for him, is what I'm trying to get at. Whereas for me, you know, there isn't a cent to be made, you know, not even 1 penny, but I enjoy doing it, and that's why I do it. And I do devote like a good proportion of my spare time to it, but there's no regrets, and there never was, and frankly there never will be, but oh my god, I'm just saying the most outrageous things possible here and laughing my head off. I tend to exaggerate who I am on these things for fun, but a lot of it is me and a lot of it isn't, and a bit of it isn't, so I'd say the majority of it is how I actually am. I just don't talk that often in real life, except when I'm doing these. But yeah, no, this portion of the level here, I really like it. It's really good, really atmospheric, and the puzzle elements are really. I don't want to spoil what happens because like it's coming. I was just telling, it's coming up really soon, and yeah, it's quite a challenging level, this one, actually. And that's not just because you can't see what you're doing, it's because evidently I haven't edited this very well. She just seems to be standing there. Can I edit that back a bit? I'll just change the song. I hope you guys can't hear this, by the way. Oh my god. Clearly this hasn't been edited properly. No matter, I can probably edit this out a bit. I'm not sure though, because it's a fully converted video. I'm not sure the system can actually do that. We'll have to find out. I'm not familiar with it enough to know. I just know the basics. So, well, it wasn't too bad. There have been times where she's standing there for like a quarter of an hour, and I've edited that sort of, you know, but occasionally she'll be standing there for a good while longer than she should be, and I haven't edited it because I forgot or missed it out. I wasn't paying attention enough, so I'll have to apologise for that, but not really, because it's nothing to be sorry for, really. It's just a mistake, an error that I didn't intend for it to happen. It shouldn't spoil your enjoyment of the Let's Play too much. If you're enjoying it so far, you should continue to do so, quite frankly. And I think that soundtrack that comes on when you go through it is unillusioned. It's really one of the best soundtracks in the game. And I really love it, but it's hardly ever there, really. It is a few times in CAIRO, and previously to that, it was back in the burial chambers when you heard it, when you first slipped down. So, yeah, I got an itchy face. I shouldn't do, because I've had a shower recently, but yeah, I may not have got my face very well, I don't think, because I've got an itchy face, maybe because of my moustache. I might have to shave that off, actually. I'm going to get a new haircut, because I haven't had a haircut for months and months because of COVID-19. I've been stuck in the house most of the time, so I haven't even been able to get a haircut. Never mind anything else. So, and all of the stuff I was bought for myself is online. And I've heard you can get a fine. You could have got fined for buying non-essential items in ordinary shops. So the way to do it was always online to get stuff like that. Supermarkets are just for your food, drink, and essentials. And you see a lever over there, but you can't reach it because it falls in the water. So, and there's no way to climb out. So how indeed do we pull that lever? How do we actually get to that? How do we actually do that? It's really clever, this. I really love how they've done this. It's core design all over, really. They've thought of a creative solution for the puzzle, and how you do it is really quite something, you know. Some people might not say so, but to me, like, the way you use it to access it is really quite clever. So you need really for that water to be frozen, but how the hell am I actually going to get that water frozen is the question. And if you're a first time player, you'd be like, what the fuck, you know, what am I doing here? I don't know where you're going. And you notice there was a second laser sight there. And you think, oh great, I've got a laser sight from a revolver, and I've just picked another one up. That will do for the crossbow. And then you go in your inventory, and it's not there. It's just a pickup that you don't actually pick up. If you've got a laser sight, it doesn't allow you to have another one. I think that's one of the flaws in both this game and Chronos. I think, well, no, not in Chronos, because you only needed one in the first place for your revolver. But in this game, you could really do with having a second laser sight for the crossbow, so you don't have to keep taking it off and putting it on the other gun. You can save a lot of time, but I'm sure if you had the PC version, you could add it in as a mod to have a second laser sight. But yeah, that's really a bit irritating how you can't use any other laser sight but the one you got, and you have to keep switching guns with it because different guns do different things, you see. What you have to do, you have to smash that blue thing to bits, because you have to do it with your crossbow, I think. So I've got to switch them to laser sight. Again, you see what I mean here. It doesn't take that long to switch them, so it's not that much of an confuse, but just think about it, if you had a second laser sight, that would be great. Right. I've unleashed an ice spirit, but I've also unfortunately blown the other thing up, which I was trying to avoid. If you blow that up, you get locusts attacking you, and that's not good. But it's kind of impossible to avoid that. And a few levels down the line, locusts are everywhere, unfortunately. They do quite a bit of damage as well. They don't necessarily kill you, but they do quite a bit of damage. So they're more of an annoyance than anything else. And this spirit you've got is an ice spirit. Now for me, he actually disappeared, and I was really worried. So I thought that was a glitch, and I thought I wouldn't be able to freeze the water if he disappeared. You see there? And I thought, oh, holy fuck, you know, I won't be able to complete the level if he disappears, you know, because I need him to freeze the water. But you'll see that he actually did freeze the water, so I don't know what happened to him, because he's supposed to chase you around before he freezes the water, and he kind of disappeared on me, and I was really worried, but I needn't have done, really, because he actually was following me. He just disappeared somewhere, I don't know where he went. And now the water is frozen. It might not, you can tell because it's glazed over. It's absolutely spectacular looking as well. Really good graphics, even on the PS1 for that. And now I can access this lever and pull it. I need to open that door. Yep. I love the creativity of that. You wouldn't find this in modern gaming. It's too creative. It might seem simple. I did have the ice spirit freeze the water, but I really enjoy that. Too much, really. It's really good, and And it's such a shame that really is this the only level where you actually need the ice spirit to do that. The other level where you have the ice spirit is just chase the fire spirit away, and that is, of course, the Tomb of Semiket, the losing route, which is the route you need to find all the secrets, ironically. So it's a few months since I last commented on that, indeed. So it feels like absolute years later, but in reality it's a few months of being compromised and not being able to continue the comedy because of the new computer not appearing to have the things that the old computer had. It has them, it's just that they're totally different. And, I didn't even thought it had a microphone. I mean, I didn't even think it had a microphone because when I typed the microphone it was totally, but it does. And it's just as efficient, so it's just a Windows 10 version. So I don't know what my complaints with Windows 10 really were, because it was because I got a computer that didn't work with Windows 10. And I was like blaming Windows 10 for the computer's failings when in fact it was the computer, not Windows 10. Because I got this computer and it's the only issues I've had with this computer are the issues I've caused myself, like locking myself out of password and breaking the screen. As a computer, this worked perfectly fine so far. And yeah, Windows 10 does run every bit as smoothly as Windows 7 is what I'm trying to say. I watched videos online that suggested some computers get stuck in a reboot. That's what happened to my other computer. I wonder whether that was the case actually, or whether the computer was just broken, but it was second-hand. It was probably broken, to be honest. And then when I tried to return it, I said, oh, they had to perform a diagnostics, and they found nothing wrong with it. So I couldn't return it, and I couldn't get my money back. I could probably return it and not get my money back, but since it cost over 200 quid, I wasn't going to do that, obviously. So I'll have to sell it on or get it fixed, either or. And it's really a quick computer when it works, but then they just stop working altogether, so you've got no fucking idea why, you know. Probably something wrong with the hard drive, most likely. A virus or something like that could be the cause, because that can interfere with how you completely destroy your computer, actually. But yeah. Oh, laughing because I need the toilet, but I can't go. I'm not pausing the commentary because I don't want to. I'd rather not do it. So yeah, it's best to save it there because you can easily miss that lever, and if you do, you have to go all the way back there. It takes you a few minutes, though I managed to get it first time. So that's good. Of course, you need to fetch the bike now, and I've left it all the way over there. So I'll have to fetch it then. I do hope the music doesn't come through the sound. I'll be really embarrassed if it doesn't. The only times it sort of has is you can't actually tell what it is. You can just hear the beats sort of on some of it, and it sounds garbled. So if that happens, I shouldn't get any copyright issues because you can't tell what the fuck it is. So you know how it is, guys. You know how it is. Unless you don't. Yeah, this level is 40 minutes long. And yeah, it's quite a long level. That said, it's barely any longer than Cleopatra's Passes, and it's quite straightforward what you have to do. It can be a bit tricky to navigate with the bike, but that was the same with the Jeep. It's the same with the quad bike in Tomb Raider 3 as well. The controls aren't necessarily perfect. I think the controls for the quad bike are slightly smoother, in actual fact, than the controls for the bike or the Jeep in this game. But like I said, it's a slightly different engine, so that would be a lot of the reason why. If you notice that this bike has a side thing in it, and that is not an accident. You think, oh, they've captured Jean-Yves. This is to rescue Jean-Yves, right? No. It isn't. You don't come across Jean-Yves until after you've ditched the bike. Because he's in the final level of this level set. and you just untie him, and he goes on his merry way. Then you never see him again and again. What that side thing is for is to you bump into a soldier you come across, and he's friendly. You don't kill him, and you actually rescue him in order for him to then drive his vehicle to destroy this big dragon thing. So that breathed fire at you and all sorts. So yeah, there's dragons in Tomb Raider 4 as well. There's just one big dragon in this game. Quite different to this is more like a Chinese dragon than the dragon you had in Tomb Raider 2, which was in China, but was more like a traditional dragon rather than the Chinese dragon, which is ironic. I know. And Bortoli turns himself into a dragon, of course, with a dagger. But that boss fight's fairly straightforward, except for the fact that in my version, in both my versions of the game, both the iPad and the PS1 version, Lara glitches out and she can't pull a dagger out properly for some reason. That's the issue that I had. And then he came back to life and sort of smoked my ass before I finish him off. But yeah, it's been a pleasure doing the Tomb Raiders. I mean, this is the 5th Tomb Raider I've done, so I'm just one game away from Angel of Darkness, which is the final core design Lara Croft. So, and yes, I am Let's Playing Angel of Darkness, regardless of how hard or tricky I find it. It shouldn't actually be as hard as this game, but I think some of the levels will be very hard because of the controls and everything. So, and in Angel of Darkness, you can actually punch and kick enemies. You do get a shit ton of ammunition in that game, though, and you can hand-to-hand combat for the first time, which is there was elements of that in Chronicles where you could sneak up behind somebody with a crowbar and kill them that way, but for Angel of Darkness, it's the first time you actually hand-to-hand combat. Oh dear, I've killed her. That wasn't deliberate, by the way. You might have thought that it was, because I haven't demonstrated it yet, but it wasn't. It's just really tricky to navigate the stairs with the bike, they're very narrow. If you go too fast, you'll fly off and die. So there's no point trying to be Nicky Lauda here, you've just got to slowly trudge up. More like a Steve O'Rourke gentleman type of driver to get this done. And he was always miles off the pace of his teammates, so in the McLaren F1, in the British GT Championship in 1998 and 1999. But it's one of my favourite things to go back to on YouTube. And I think, unfortunately, as he got older, he got slower. So in 1999 in particular, he was even further off the pace than he was in 1998. Left his team up with far too much to do half the time, and obviously that's not the way to win titles, but I would have wanted a more comparable team if I was me. The problem is that his team actually owned the car. It was part of the regulations that if you owned the car, you had to drive the car, sort of thing. No matter how slow you were, compared to your team. Well, both the McLaren F1s in the 99 season had amateur drivers that were too slow and professional drivers are fast enough. Just the amateur drivers let the thing down, you see. Not to mention that one of the teams was completely corrupt and they got thrown out of the championship halfway through. But of course, the McLaren F1 won the title in '98, barely. But of course, there was a stupid thing where the overall title went to a GT2 car, which is much slower than the GT because. Never mind. Not quite sure why that was. It was just to encourage more entries into the cheaper and more viable GT2 class, I guess. The production class. There's a beautiful view of Lara. There are a few places in this game where you can get really close to her like that. And she does look beautiful in this game. Even the in-game character model looks nice. So, sure why that guy off the Brotherhood of Gaming said she does look beautiful in Chronicles, because essentially, you know, it's the same look as she has in 4, and she has it in 4 first. And I'm not quite sure why he didn't say in 4, because 4 is his favourite game. So he might have meant to and not did. The cutscene, the FMV sequences of this game are unrivaled as far as I'm concerned. You know, to this day they're absolutely brilliant. You know. Only rivaled by the graphics and visual effects. Absolutely fantastic. And oh my god, I might piss my pants here, guys. I really do need the toilet. This is like that time we went to Liverpool, had a few hours to drive there. I had 3 cups of tea beforehand, and I nearly had a complete disaster, but I just managed to get the toilet in the nick of time. That was 11 years ago, but Jesus Christ, was it? Yes, it was. Fucking hell. How the years have gone. This gun is harmless, it doesn't kill you. But I'm going to destroy it anyway. You need the revolver to destroy this gun, you see, not the crossbow. And the laser sight to pinpoint the back and blow it the fuck up. I suppose killing the ones that don't kill you could be considered a waste of ammunition, but you do get enough ammunition to do that if you want to, so for me it was no issue really. I just wanted to destroy all of the sentry. I did that in 2014 as well, if I'm honest. I even destroyed the one that you're not supposed to be able to destroy, because it's not the free club. I found a way of destroying it, so I basically glitched the game out to let me around the back, and I blew it up. With these ones, you're not aiming at the back, you're aiming at that red thing over there. The back of them is far too far away for you to hit accurately. And if you go right up to them, you get shot to bits and get set on fire if you go too far up to them, by the way. What you need, hit that red thing, jump out of the way, and blow the whole thing up. And you also, well, I failed to mention, you blow up a helicopter as well. So it's pretty badass. And essentially, all that equipment belongs to the soldiers you come across, including the friendly ones you later come across. And she's friendly towards them, yet their men do try and kill Lara. So I'm not quite sure what that was about. There's men later on in Giza that are friendly towards you, unless you kill them first. And as always, if you try and kill them first, they will turn on you. Occasionally they even turn on you when you fire at them accidentally when you aim at the scorpions. They'll start trying to kill you. I'm like, oh my god, why are they trying to kill me? I didn't even meant to hit you. It's like when I accidentally killed that, well, hit that monk, and then all of them turn against me in Tomb Raider 2. Because I accidentally. So with the monks and Bartoli's men, it's best to just let them fight it out without getting involved. And if Bartoli's men win the fight, you have to kill them, and if they lose it, you don't, and you get to pick up their stuff. So it's pretty cool. You save some ammunition at least, allowing the monks to do it for you, but they don't always win. It's quite randomised actually as to whether. Obviously, there's a lot of monks more than there is men. They've got their chance. The monks only have primitive weapons, you see, like spears, whereas Bartoli's men have machine guns. So in reality, most of the time the monks would lose, but actually most of the time they tend to win. Especially on the iOS version. I've noticed on the PS1 version, they're just as likely to lose as win. But that's the version I Let's Played, by the way. In case you're wondering, so I've opened the door there, and that means this level is pretty much over. I just need to fetch the bike, and if you try to get through that area without the bike, there's a slope, so you can't leave the bike behind. And if you could, you'd pretty much be stuck because you need the bike in these levels. And it's very cleverly done like that, very well thought out, and generally, CAIRO is a very enjoyable area, despite the fact that it's not my favourite area in the game. I still love it because it's got the same gameplay. It's just got a few different elements, and you get the revolver, which was probably my favourite weapon, apart from the crossbow, which is the explosive ammo. If the crossbow didn't have the explosive ammo, the crossbow probably wouldn't be very useful to me. And I was reading a very interesting thing where the crossbow is actually an evolution of the harpoon gun. The harpoon gun was absolutely useless. You can literally go through the whole of Tomb Raider 2 and 3 without using it once, I think. Not so much Tomb Raider 3 actually, because a lot of them where you need to use the harpoon to fight the divers that are going to kill you, but in that level in particular. But literally in Tomb Raider 2 you don't actually need to use it. And it's more useless than the pistols, and it's just so ineffective. So now that I've destroyed those guns, I won't get fired at anymore in all across this area, which is nice. But like I say, we will be coming back to this level much later on, just to collect the secret, which is inaccessible for now, as the bike isn't fast enough to get it naturally. However, you can actually get this. You can actually do the jump without the boost, but it's a lot harder to do, and I would not recommend it because you'll fail most likely. And that's not a secret, but it's the grenade gun. In later levels, the grenade gun does become a secret.